Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus Mame review. Today we're going to be taking a look at SegaSonic The Hedgehog, released in 1993 in Japan on the Sega System 32 arcade hardware. Now, depending on if you've played this or not, either you view this as a unknown entry in the Sonic series, or a black sheep entry due to the strangeness and difficulty in playing it. Now, the way this game worked is that, one thing I want to touch on there, even though it says Sega 1992 there, this game didn't come out in Japan until 1993, which was kind of weird. But basically, this was a 1 to 3 player game, which this version seems like it's 2 players since I don't see a press start for a third player. But you have this trackball and then just one action button. And all that you were able to do is the trackball determined what way you'd go, and then the action button would do like a jump or jump attack if you like hit something. If I can find the proper translations, I'll post them on the screen. But if you'd imagine here, basically what Eggman is doing, or Dr. Robotnik, whatever you want to call him. Dr. Robotnik actually was the American name, and then Eggman was the Japanese name. But basically all he's doing is taunting Sonic, of course, because anytime Eggman is yelling at Sonic, he's like saying, you'll never succeed, you're never gonna do this. I'm gonna stop you and all your friends too, ha ha ha, you know, something like that. But the biggest problem with playing this game is, of course, if you don't have any kind of trackball controller, which I can honestly admit I do not. The only way I could actually figure to play this was, I actually ran this on my laptop, and using the touchpad, swiping back and forth on the touchpad, kind of sort of simulated the trackball, so I sort of got it by, but I will apologize already for how bad this gameplay is going to be, because this game, honestly, is very hard to play, and I can honestly say I couldn't imagine a trackball making this game all that much easier, because if you see how much trouble I'm having with this, it just seems like the control itself isn't all that accurate, because a lot of times I could be like swiping really quick on that touchpad, and Sonic is just like running really, really slow. You'll see here I was able to go back and forth and not get hit by the fire. I don't think I did when I played this. But, stuff that requires any kind of precision just seems like it's just a major problem, really. But there are 7 stages in this, and I'm actually going to take you through all 7. And sadly, in this gameplay, I was unable to fully complete the game, because in stage 7 at the very end you have a 20-second time limit, and since I couldn't quite turn and get through the thing too quickly, I didn't do it. But at the very end I will throw in a clip that I had found online of what this game looks like when you beat it. So, and no matter what I did, I was trying to press up, I was trying to press the button, I couldn't get Sonic to get up, so he just fell, of course. So I was trying up, I was trying right, I was trying rapid button presses, but nothing seemed to do anything. And that's another thing. Only one time in this whole gameplay, which like about halfway through, I switched to Muddy the Armadillo, who actually ended up being a character in the 32X game Knuckles Chaotix. Only one time was I able to actually get the selection to change. I tried swiping up, I tried swiping left and right, I tried swiping diagonal, I tried rapid button presses, but nothing seemed to want to change the character at all. So, pretty much for like half of the video, Sonic, the other half I'm Mighty. The other character, his name was Ray, and of course, he was never in any other Sonic games at all. So, he's that yellow character who is in the intro screen. So, yeah. I'm sure nobody will know nor remember him from this unless you've played it, but he was probably saying something right there, but it sounded like he just kept screaming Sonic, Sonic, Sonic. And of all games, I would say the only other game that you feel like you're being thrown more around in a Sonic game was Sonic Spinball. But in this game, it just honestly feels like you're being thrown all around, and there really aren't any kind of enemies per se. It's more like hazards that Dr. Robotnik / Eggman throws at you. At least when the spikes were up, you didn't get hurt by them, because I've actually played so many games where if you even touch a spike, you get hurt / die. And if you see any of these ones where it's at the character selection and nothing's happening, that's just me frantically trying to do the touchpad action, but nothing's happening. So it's not like I was just like waiting the whole like 8 seconds for the timer to run out. I was just really trying to select a different character. But the weird thing about this game is, unlike just about any Sonic game ever made, Sonic has a life bar. It's not like the rings that protect him. Rings just seem like they're a high score, which apparently you need to get an awful lot of them, but my biggest problem with this game is that I found that most of the time I just had struggled to not fall in a pit or something, let alone try to get a lot of rings. So suffice to say, collecting rings was not exactly my first priority when I was playing this. And just like any game that you've probably ever played where there's slippery ice, the control in this game already was kind of twitchy, and in that stage, it just made it that much worse that you were on ice and you kept sliding all around. And you see, rings are just like a score in this game. They serve no other purpose other than, oh my god, guess what I did in SegaSonic The Hedgehog? I got 50 rings in the first stage. It's like, wow, you got 50 rings, that's amazing. And then basically what I did with my laptop, I was playing this on the laptop. Since there's no way the laptop would be able to run my capture software while I was playing this on Mame, I ended up just connecting the S-Video directly to my capture card and just capturing it the old-fashioned way, since Hypercam and Mame wouldn't really run on a single-core laptop all that well. I have a different laptop which has a dual-core, but sadly it has no S-Video or composite out. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get out of these little whirlpool things. I don't know how you're supposed to do it. Maybe there's a certain action you do, but it just didn't happen. Now this is another stage that I found fairly difficult, considering all these little things just keep opening up. After a while, I kind of figured out how to do it, because they would like open on the sides, and as long as you stayed toward the middle, you could do it. And now this part, I definitely have to say, the big question in my mind was, do I fight this character, or do I just run away from it? And it turns out, I believe the correct answer was run away from it, because hitting it didn't seem to do anything except for hurt me and eventually kill me. So I just figured, screw it, I'm just gonna get away from this thing. That's another thing that long-time Sonic fans will be unhappy about, is the inability to really kill any kind of enemy at all in this game. It just basically, you could call SegaSonic The Hedgehog like a supersonic obstacle course, because it's just hazard after silly hazard that Sonic has to not die from. And now this is perhaps one of the worst things in the game. It's sand that you sink into. And my only guess is the way to stay out of it is to rapidly hit jump and rapidly go on the trackball. But as I said, the touchpad was a little bit less responsive than it could be, so yeah, all I could really do is persevere here. See, I was doing it kind of okay there, but altogether, it's just kind of like dumb luck if I got through this or not. And then, of course, there's these sandstorms behind me that are trying to kill me at the same time. And that's not exactly helping. And of course, just like with anything in this game, when you're running really fast, there has to be more hazards, more whirlpools I just couldn't figure out how to get out of. I'm sure some really hardcore Sonic fan is going to tell me, well, this is how you do it. It's really easy. It's the easiest thing in the world. I don't know why you're so dumb and you can't play this game, but if you're ever wondering why this was never put on any of the Sonic collections, not even Sonic Gems collection, which I honestly wouldn't call this game a gem, but the reason why Sonic creator Yuji Naka actually said that the reason why this wasn't put on any collection is because it's just honestly too hard to control without having a trackball, so it just would have been impossible to adopt to a console unless they released some sort of special edition trackball, which probably wouldn't have flown too well because this probably would have been like an arcade release. It wouldn't have been like a full retail. Plus then you'd have to see if you could get other games that work with said trackball. And now that's another common theme of this game is basically something chasing you, a la Indiana Jones and his big boulder, and you having to get out of the way of it. Now you'll see a couple times here and there I actually make the jump, but for the most part there's a lot of jumps I do not make, and I had no clue what was going on there. Because what happens in this level is there's those metal things and they go up, come down, go up, come down, and stab you. And for the most part in the beginning here, I kind of was able to get out of the way of them. But then, like, I think right after this, I end up getting hit by every single one and squished. And the way that Sonic gets squished in this game reminds me of some of the later Ninja Turtles games, because, like, when the foot soldiers would hammer the Ninja Turtles, they had this, like, squish effect, and you'd kind of be frozen and lose some health. The reason I kept on feeding this credits is because I wasn't sure if it was one of those arcade games where if you didn't feed it credits and you got a game over, you couldn't continue, because there actually are a few of those that if you don't have a credit in the bank and then you try to continue, you're done. Because it'll be like, hey, you have no credits. Oh well, you're done. Now here's another thing in this game that I was not a fan of, was the climbing. It's another thing where you have to rapidly press up, 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 up on your trackball slash touchpad in my situation here. And of course if there's any of these like explosion things, I had to quickly go to the right. And then of course, to compound the problem, they have fire chasing you. And I don't think there was actually a part in the game where you were climbing and something wasn't chasing you. That just seems like, in general, a common theme where you're trying to go fast, but you can't take your time at all because something is behind you. Plus another reason why I could see this not being a wide release or even a console release is that, honestly, this game is really short. You'll see we've probably only gone through like 12 to 15 minutes here, and we've completed 4 out of the 7 stages. So even compared to like even the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, this game is pretty short, because I know with most of the Sonic the Hedgehog games, when I played those, they take at least like an hour or so. And there you go. Now if you're not being chased, the floor's falling out. And that's one thing I can give this game. At least it gives you that chance to get further if you missed your jump. So it just kind of pushes you along. One of the pages that I read said that this game is very much compared to is Marble Madness. Although I can honestly say with Marble Madness, at least it was adopted to a console like Nintendo without having to worry about having a trackball. And if you've never played it before, Marble Madness actually plays pretty well with a NES D-pad. So it does prove that you can make a game that was made for trackball and have a controller work with it. So, well, like, wasn't out of the question. And now I got caught with the oldest trick in the book. That's actually just the scene, and my head got stuck in it. That's just like the jump earlier. I had no idea how I was supposed to get out of that, or if I even could, if the game was just being cheap and I just had to die there. Now here's another scene, just like earlier, that requires precision. And as you guessed, yeah, not so much here. I have honestly no idea how it changed to Muddy the Armadillo, but yeah, this is the character I was mentioning earlier who actually ended up being one of the playable characters in Knuckles Chaotix. Or as some people just call it, Chaotix for some reason. Which was basically, if you ever remember seeing the game called Sonic Crackers or Sonic Stadium, it was the quote-unquote spiritual successor to Sonic 3, and a lot of people even called it Sonic 4 until, of course, that digital-only online release Sonic 4 finally came out. But basically the way that game worked is you'd have two Sonic the Hedgehog characters connected by, like, they were both holding rings, and they're connected by this rubber band thing. And then instead of being Sonic and Tails like in the unreleased beta, it turned out to be Knuckles and some other character, or some other character and some other character, because you didn't always have that Knuckles, which is why a lot of people refer to the game as Chaotix. But nonetheless, it was cool to see a game that starred Knuckles. And of course, if you remember correctly, there were a bunch of characters from Chaotix that ended up appearing in Sonic Heroes as well, since there was Team Chaotix. I remember that giant alligator guy, Knuckles, and somebody else. I'm not sure if Mighty actually made it, which I'm sure it would be mentioned in the various wiki entries and stuff and the history.dat that I've been reading on this. Now the funny thing is, I didn't realize that those were like clams closing until I re-see the footage now. I had no idea what they were when I saw this earlier. And now there's a little bit of satisfaction for you, at least with those like big snake things. You could actually kill something. And now if you see, all the times I'm Mighty, I'm desperately trying to change to Ray just so I could show you what he looks like, but as I mentioned earlier, I could not change the character again. I have no idea how the character even got changed. Now that little turtle shell there, I'm guessing would have been another enemy, but I just walked so far away from it that I guess it never moved. Now this is another thing that I'll easily complain about, and I'm sure this review slash gameplay, if you will, has been complaining enough, but it's a game that's already hard to control, and now you're putting it in water, thus slowing it down even more. And of course, with these geysers coming out of the wall, there's no way you could possibly take this area a little bit slower. You have to go as quick as you can and dodge the places where the wall cracks, so you don't get swept out by the water. And of course I didn't notice this when I was playing it because my laptop had to be connected to the capture card by the headphone jack, so I didn't hear anything at all, but that water is awfully loud. I really hope you can hear me over it here. The basic gist of this part is you have to jump on that, run on it, jump on it, and not fall in the water. And I will tell you right now, I had a horribly hard time doing this. And only by the grace of God in this did I get any further. Because I'd go as far as to say that this part is even worse than the sand earlier, because not only do these boards fall down, but they're also moving. So you basically take two things that make it harder and kind of put them together. And of course, here's more of me desperately trying to change the character. And when the counter just goes down, at least it just automatically picks the character and it doesn't like assume you're not going to be playing. And the funny part is when I actually got here, I'll think to myself, oh, thank God, finally I'm getting off of this. Even though it's another silly climbing part that's going to be near impossible again, at least I can stop doing the things falling off the waterfall part. And now more of that obnoxiously loud water. I think I got through this one a little bit better than the last one, and the good part here is that it didn't have a climbing part after it. It had just regular land, and I think this got toward the end of the level. Now you're going to see me die a few times here, just like earlier. And if you hear any stuttering, that's basically just my my old single-core Athlon 64 3000 plus laptop just kind of slowing down. Nothing to do with how the game captured, but how the game was run on the old laptop. Since, as I said, my more modern Turion X2 laptop didn't have any video out that was anything other than VGA, which I have no way of capturing at the moment. My only guess is you had to get more than like 50% or more to win. And the funny thing is, no matter what character you are, it always shows Sonic there. I just noticed that right there on the bottom of Dr. Robotnik / Eggman's screen, it actually said Sega, which is kind of cool. Now, if I really had to like give any kind of grade, I would honestly... Oh wow, that's really loud, the Robotnik thing that's desperately trying to eat you while these things try to kill you, but... If I have to like grade this game, I would say this is one of those many games that you say is for fans only. Which I really wouldn't recommend playing this game unless you're a really hardcore Sonic fan, or you have a trackball and you're used to trackball games, or if you have a very high threshold for frustration, as this game is really full of it, as you've seen with all my footage. I believe that these two areas where I climb here are the only areas I actually climbed without getting killed. And now, just like earlier, more areas where the stuff falls down and you die if you fall with it. Look, it looks like toothpicks or matchsticks or something. More of those big gear things. And there's their big Robotnik thing. Once again, very hard to do any kind of accuracy because you're being chased by something and you have to dodge the hazards. Oh, I think he's actually saying mighty, but it sounds very, very accented and it's hard to hear with all the noise going on in the background here. Now, one last climbing part here, which, luckily, they do have some slow-moving blades here, but luckily there's no explosions from out of the climbing part, because I can honestly say that was really annoying earlier. The good part is most of the time in most of the levels here, when you fell off of something, you didn't die per se. You just lost a little bit of health, and I think you had like 4/4 of health before you died. It's either 4 or 3. Like, that first time I'd actually come around, I thought that the level was repeating and I had to do something special, but then when I saw this, I was happy that, it wasn't. But yeah, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, really a game for fans only. It'd be great if you love Sonic the Hedgehog or you love trackball games, but for most people, I'd say give this game a miss. And, right after I epically fail here, I'm going to throw in some footage of, that I'd found online, where somebody actually wins with Sonic, and just to show you what happens at the end of the game, since you've been with me for this long already. I'll see you in my next video, and I will see you later. Bye.
なんでこうなるのよ。